What you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is the footprint, the location of where the proposed multi-purpose stadium will hopefully be built in downtown Pittsfield. Good afternoon and welcome to a special live version of Inside Straight here on Pittsfield Community Television's CityLink. This is the government channel, Channel 18, and we'd like to thank you for coming aboard this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the multi-purpose stadium that has been proposed, and we're not going to be talking about much of anything else. We're going to be talking about the stadium itself and not the civic authorities. I mean, we could get into that for another half hour, but we're going to talk about the stadium itself. The reason we're going to be doing that here on CityLink here this afternoon is to point out to you from the two top people who are on this project what you can expect. Whether you agree with it or not, that's entirely up to you. But you're going to be hearing from the two top people. And, of course, we start with the top, you might say, Pittsfield Mayor Jerry Doyle, Jr. Hi there.
Hi, Larry. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you putting this together, and obviously the crew here.
Well, it was put together in short order, but we thank the crew here for coming aboard and doing this. Seated next to Jerry is Mike Thiessen, who is actually, at this point in time, you're a consultant and you're working for the Pittsfield Sports and Events LLD, right?
Yes, sir, Larry, that's correct.
Okay, but you are a consultant with a firm in
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago?
Yes.
Okay. I had someplace...
Home of the first place White Sox I made at.
The White Sox?
White Sox.
My son was on the White Sox at the White. He likes the White Sox. Anyway, welcome.
Move past that later.
Welcome aboard. Now, the reason you're here, gentlemen, is to talk about the proposed multi-purpose stadium. And Jerry, I'm going to let you sit there for a couple of minutes back because I want to talk to Mike. Because Mike, as consultants, you came into the city of Pittsfield. And I suppose that the mayor took you down and showed you the site. What did you think of the location, the proposed location for the stadium?
Oh, I think it's outstanding. I think it's just a very dynamic and vibrant site. It'll be a great location to achieve several of the goals that the city's laid out: economic development, increased traffic, both foot traffic and auto traffic, and will be just a great urban ballpark. And I think that the graphic that we saw to open the show just really demonstrates how that will really change the landscape of downtown Pittsfield.
Well, maybe we could roll that graphic again so we can take a look, because I think a lot of people are wondering, okay, now, where is this going to be and how can you fit this ballpark in? Because let's face it, we're all used to Wacona Park. Now, here's the footprint, and Jerry, please jump in anytime you want, but Michael, here's what you're looking at. Can you fit a ballpark there?
Oh, absolutely. I think the interesting thing will be is, as we saw the big blue dome that's so affectionate around here, or people seem to love, will probably be the main entry point, and that's probably going to be around center field or right field, so the majority of the people will be coming from the downtown business center.
So then the outfield would be right up against...
Right, exactly. We're looking at the outfield almost exactly right now. And then what that'll do is it'll give the people that sit, around home plate and down the first and the third base line good vistas and good views into downtown Pittsfield to some of the building tops. And then it'll allow us to use the parking deck that's across the street, so we can get another good use out of a city asset, being the parking deck that's there behind KB Toys. The roadways are plenty wide with the boulevard there. So yeah, there's plenty of land there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there's another shot of it. Now, there's some homes back there. Is it Worthington Street?
Worthington
is it?
Street.
Okay, there's some homes back there. There's the bus station. All that would go, wouldn't it? The bus station, would that stay?
The bus station and the businesses in that area would have to be shifted and relocated. We haven't quite, we haven't had architects on board and things like that. We saw a rough schematic that involved the houses. We're not to that point yet. Obviously, it's become an issue, and we're listening to what the folks in that area have been saying.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting when you're looking at this video. This is taken from the top of the Crowne Plaza, by the way. You can look down now and kind of get an idea of just how large that is. And we'd like to thank the Crowne Plaza Hotel, by the way, for the aerial shots. They let Norm Schaefer up there this afternoon.
I think one thing, it's important to know why we have that picture up there, that the vacant lot that you see all around, going back to the car dealer, is empty. There is no business there.
Nothing.
Nothing. Zero. 60% of, and that's 60% of the total project.
Okay, now we're panning back to the, here's the shot of that parking lot you're talking about.
The parking lot and all the way over to the Blue Dome.
All empty.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of people lose sight of here. That is an empty parcel that we're not relocating anybody from.
Jerry, I want to talk about the stadium for a second, because I know last night or recently I was at the dedication of the girls softball complex, and before I did an interview with you, I said, kiddingly, I said, build it and they will come. Now the question that a lot of people are wondering about is if this multi-purpose stadium does get built, first of all, do you anticipate people going to it, filling up the stadium on a regular basis, at least during baseball season? We'll get to the other stuff later. And how about a ball team? Will they come?
I'll refer that question to Mike, who's been involved with talking with several ball team owners. But what I will say is we know that we have 80,000 people that come into this community every year for the Pittsfield Mets games. We do know that. That's a given. That's a fact. And I won't take any words out of Mike's mouth, but he's done the research on other new facilities and what they've done. And we'll stick for this time basically to baseball.
Absolutely.
For the time being, to baseball, yeah.
Right. Typically, you see in markets that build new stadiums for existing teams, which is really what we have in Pittsfield. We're not introducing a new product. You'll see an increase of anywhere from 28 to 46% in attendance in the new ballpark. So take that on top of the hardcore 80,000 fans that come in, year out. It'll be for a very dynamic increase in Pittsfield. And as His Honor mentioned, we've been in contact with as recently as a day or two ago, 6 different owners that have expressed interest into coming into this Pittsfield market, particularly at that site, because they realize what a wonderful project it's going to be.
And I know you folks at home are saying, which owners, what ball teams? And I asked that on radio, and the answer I got was, not at liberty. Not at liberty to
discuss that
usual stuff.
Right.
No, well, I can understand that, but you're not at liberty to say. But you've got some people, some ball teams, some ball clubs, franchises interested in coming here if there's a new multi-purpose stadium.
A new facility.
Yeah. Does it bother them that it's a multi-purpose, or don't they care? Could they care less?
In our discussions that have been very, very premature type discussions, they're more concerned about their season, what the length of their season is, depending on which league we enter an agreement to. There hasn't been any really backlash at all about other uses for the facility.
Now, are we talking single A or double A?
Well, we're talking all different kinds of baseball, and again, I can't get lured into that little trap there. It would be unethical for me at this point to discuss that. And as we've seen in the past, I don't want to raise people's hopes to think that the Red Sox are moving from Fenway either. You know?
We don't want to talk about
the White Sox are moving out of Chicago.
We haven't talked those two out.
Yeah,
right?
we haven't talked to those two yet.
You're working
rule those out.
They're on. You'll get a beeper. Back over to Mike Thiessen, and I do want to introduce him again. Mike Thiessen, who is a consultant with the Madison Group out of Chicago, and he is currently, and I want to make this clear, you are currently getting paid for this consulting work by Pittsfield Sports and Events.
Well, it's actually the Berkshire Sports and Entertainment, LLC.
Right,
so,
but not the City of Pittsfield.
That's correct, not the City of
Pittsfield. Because some people may say,
right,
it's coming out.
Well, they'll say that anyway.
Well, they will, yeah. Now, here's the question. Now, you went down, you saw the site. Maybe we'll take a look at it again on tape. But you saw the projected area where this is. What kind of stadium are you looking for down there? What are you looking at?
Well, really, I think what not only what we're looking at in terms of the mayor, but what the area is going to dictate. There's a lot of red brick and historic buildings in that general area. When you see the clock tower area, there's some architectural integrity that you have to maintain. So in today's day and age of the retro ballparks, it fits perfectly in the Pittsfield market with the rejuvenation of the central block, with the new City Savings Bank going in, that again kept with the red brick motif and the red brick feel of North Avenue. That's the same thing that you'll see in this ballpark. Mm-hmm. You'll see a lot of open spaces. You'll see probably a very interactive family area where they'll have the moon jump that the kids love and the speed pitch and maybe some playground equipment. As well as your traditional hot dog stands and places to buy peanuts and cotton candy and everything else that you see in a ballpark.
What about like the outfield? I'm trying to think if you could have a big screen TV out there.
I think the goal is to have a video screen out in the outfield, and maybe in the tradition of this area, a manual scoreboard, but a video screen to give people a chance to see replays or to see themselves on the screen. The advent these days is many times you have Cub Scout packs that'll come and camp in the outfield, and they'll watch movies on the video screen at night, and the kids just love it.
Wow.
Kids just love it.
Jerry, back to you as we're talking about the different facets of that stadium. One of the things when you talk about multi-purpose, he just mentioned Cub Scout groups camping in the outfield or movies on that big screen. You anticipate a lot of things happening there, like graduations?
Well, I would hope that would be our goal if we are to complete this project, to have our graduations there, Center City, both of our high schools, and even St. Joe if they were interested in doing something like that. I know that a lot of times we have major DARE graduations for our younger children that are in our facilities that are jam-packed. These are the type of things we want a community center, we want a community park built by the community. Granted, we need professional baseball as a nucleus for that type of venue, but on the other hand, we've looked at other places throughout the country, as we talked about earlier today. We talked about Pennsylvania at a small park like we're talking about in the middle of winter with an ice carving competition. 10,000 people come to the ice carving when there's a sheet of ice set over as a Central Park type of skating venue. We talked about other places that do a Halloween party for the kids during the whole week of Halloween. The whole park is dressed up like that. We talk about concerts, and with chairs on the field, the number changes dramatically of folks we could hold in there. Granted, we're not going to have 50,000 people at a rock concert in downtown Pittsfield, but there's a good possibility that we could have 8 or 9 for another type of venue.
Now, how many seats would the stadium hold? How many people would it hold on a normal basis? For baseball, let's say. 4,500?
4,500 actual seats.
Right. Then there's envisioned that there probably be some grassy areas where families can go with picnic and a blanket, some grassy berms, real inexpensive family type areas.
Like in Bridgeport, for an example, Larry, what they do is they have a certain area which is cordoned off for kids' birthday parties before the game. Similar like they do at Wacona Park, but a much nicer, newly developed area. The players come out and see the kids before the game, and really it gives you a sense of family and it gives you a sense of community. Going back to, you talked yesterday about the girls' softball complex. If you remember, probably 5 or 6 years ago, nobody was for that either. Nobody was for that. And you were there yesterday, and you see what a tremendous success that is. It's all about our kids. It's all about our community, and that's what we want to continue on that road and have this be the economic, as Mike said earlier, engine for our downtown and filling a big piece of the puzzle.
You just stole my next question. And when we were doing the radio show, Mike, you had mentioned economic engine, and that struck a note. Because I was thinking, okay, well, you're going to bring in a baseball team. That's nice. But your economic engine, how will the ballpark produce revenue? What do you have in mind for that? Are you talking about glassed-in seats or?
Well, I mean, the ballpark produces revenue in really 3 primary ways in terms of just the ballpark itself. You sell tickets, you sell sponsorships or advertising either in the outfield or on the scoreboards and in the programs, and then you sell food, and you sell food and T-shirts and popcorn and beer and peanuts and everything else that we know and love with baseball. So that's the primary way that the ballpark produces revenue. On top of that, I think it would be very common for someone to say, hey, why don't you bring the kids, maybe downtown, we'll go to the ballpark, Guy will walk from his law firm over. So let's meet at the Crown Plaza. We'll have a little dinner. We'll walk over. Let's meet at the brewery. We'll have a little dinner. We'll walk over and watch the baseball game. Kids will love that. That's the other area that's going to produce and serve as the economic engine. Anytime you put 120,000 people in an area for a 4-month period, they're going to spend money outside of the walls of the ballpark. You know, gas stations and at the Big Y and at the restaurants on North, the whole and everything else.
So it will become an economic engine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you look at, again, as we watched earlier, we saw an aerial view from the Crown Plaza of that site. Just imagine you're looking into the outfield on that site. There's many buildings, starting from South Street all the way down to Columbus Avenue, that have those catbird type seats in those buildings that could look down onto the facility. I mean, just think about what it would do as it does around other parks throughout the country. You're bringing in more lawyer's office, banker's office, accounting office. What perfect more setting could you have to sell your building? I mean, looking down in the middle of an afternoon, it's something like that. But that's just one part of it, a small part.
It's a very complicated. I mean, obviously, we can't cover it all here. But over the months ahead, I'm sure people are going to hear it time and time again, different recommendations. Before we get into the price tag of this whole thing, I do want to ask you one thing. Now, this is out to either one of you, although, Jerry, you answered it on the radio interview. Ball teams. Now, you know as well as I do that ball teams come and go, franchises come and go. And I think maybe some viewers might be a little bit nervous about the fact that, well, if you sign a ball team, the Cincinnati Crayons are going to be coming into Pittsfield. This is great. They come in for 3 years and they're gone. We decided we're going to move out, or the franchise goes out of business. Any safeguards about a ball team coming in?
Well, I can say that, number one, we're looking for a longer-term lease, so we don't have the pain and suffering as we have every year that we go through with the lease with the Mets. Nothing to do with the Mets, but that's the way the lease was structured. Mike can probably answer the question more thoroughly with some of the other business developments that he's been involved with as far as teams go and safeguards that are put into the leases.
Sure. Some of the things, Larry, that we'll look at, non-relocation agreement. You can't leave. If you break the lease, you still pay, whether you're playing there or not. It's a pretty good set of golden handcuffs to keep a team there, because we need them to be a viable part of the project. If you leave a team, you've got to bring another team in subject to our approval. So, you know, I'm fairly confident, I'm quite confident that we'll put the proper provisions in the new lease when it comes around. And quite frankly, when you're in a ballpark that's 1 year old versus 70 years old, your incentive to leave is not as great.
Not as great, no. Also, the lease agreement that you had between the Pittsfield Mets, which is ancient history now, but that was what, about $5,000?
It was $5,000 a year. We provided some maintenance. The Mets do a great job on their own down there, but we're talking apples and oranges now. As we said earlier today, you know, it's a lot more than Wacona Park, but it's a lot less than Fenway Park. Will be the lease agreement, and that leads us into, you know, the
price tag.
The price tag.
Yeah, I brought up on the radio interview, $18 million and change, something to that effect, which is what the proposed price would be. What I was thinking of was, will this escalate by the time bids go out for this project, if they do? And, for instance, I think everybody remembers the school renovation thing. It started off at 26, went up to 42, something to that effect. So it was quite a big range. Can that happen on this particular project? Are you worried about that?
I'm not worried about that at all, because infrastructure-wise, we know what we need. We know what's there. We're not remodeling and finding things in walls that were hidden, you know, they were hidden parts of the project, like remodeling an old school building. We're building new. We're demolishing and building. It's a pretty cut and dry contract that you would have.
Okay. Now, for the big question.
The big one.
All right.
Okay.
Now, this you must hear this every single day. Okay? And the biggest opponents to this whole thing are always, well, they don't know for sure if it's going to happen, but they say, we do not want any taxpayer money spent on this.
Increase in taxes.
Increase in tax or taxpayer money.
Right.
I don't want taxpayer or increase in taxes.
Right.
So we all know we got our taxes raised. My wallet's a little tighter now. But
I live in the same place.
Yeah, well, you pay taxes, but Go ahead. I know you want to say it. You're going to say the same thing you've said. Here's your big deal. Look at the camera.
We will not raise taxes to pay for this facility. I've said that since day one. I've been consistent on that since day one. Let me just explain a little bit of the funding model. We're applying for grants out of Boston through the governor's office, through our state senator or state representative's office. We also have, before we even start the project, $3 million in donations. We feel as soon as the civic authority is created, we will be able to have another funding mechanism that people actually know where their money is going to go on a private donation type of thing. What the city will do, depending on the lease agreement, which we talked about earlier, could be anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000 a year from the team alone. That'll give us the capability to float revenue bonds. We roll over bonds on a yearly basis in the city of Pittsfield. Whatever those revenues coming in will be, whether it's $250, $300, $350, depending on skyboxes, depending on a stipend on tickets, depending on parking, depending on all those things, that's what we will borrow to that capacity if need be for this project. But we will not raise additional money. What needs to be remembered here is at Wacona Park right now, we will not have a team, and we will not have any revenue other than the $5,000. We will lose the $5,000. We're taking the risk here of, if we don't do something, we will not have a team, number one. We will have no revenue. We will have no multi-purpose facility. We'll be back to square one with nothing.
Okay, what about tax losses from the buildings that would be taken?
That's a good question. The businesses down there are very viable businesses. I've spoken with a few of the folks personally. I know that we've had members of the LLC down there. I know the community development directors down there. These people were looking to relocate fairly. They seem more than receptive. Obviously, they're going to want their price for their buildings. They're not leaving. They're going to be relocated somewhere else. So we're not actually losing, as they say. You're not going to move in and every one of those businesses is going to go away. That's not the case at all. I mean, it's foolish to even suggest that, but some people have without knowing the facts. I know that, and that's a very, very important issue. And talking to the business owners down there, or through their subordinates, or through other people that have been in between there, we're very sensitive to that. Very sensitive.
So you're going to be losing some tax dollars from those businesses, in other words, right?
No.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is, if we relocate those businesses,
right,
they're still going to pay it from another piece of property.
Okay.
For example, across the street, there's there's a vacant building right across the street that's for lease right now. Who knows? Maybe one of those businesses could go there.
Across the street.
But to say that we're losing is not a fair statement at all.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time, and one thing that people have always thought, are you going to get any state money out of this? Are you hoping to?
Absolutely.
Now, Springfield was turned down. Okay, Springfield, the state wouldn't give Springfield any money.
A judge turned Springfield's project down.
That was, yeah, well, if you know about
the money was earmarked by the governor's office for Michael Albano and the Springfield project. Once the project was turned down by a judge because of the arguments over eminent domain, that money went away.
So you've got Andy Nusiforo working on this.
I've spoken with the governor and have commitments from the governor's office on the project.
Okay.
Because we all see it as a very, again, an economic engine that will drive the bigger piece of the puzzle in the downtown.
We're almost out of time, and what I'd like to do, Jerry, is give you an opportunity here for a few seconds to just kind of wrap things up from your point of view as mayor.
From my point of view as mayor, I've shared the same vision since day one. This is not a new idea that came out of Jerry Doyle's head. My main issues have always been the quality of life here in Pittsfield, to improve our school systems, expand our cultural opportunities. And as far as I talk about expanding our cultural opportunities, I feel that this multi-purpose facility will do all of those things and add to the above mentioned. We're doing the schools. We're completing that project. We're doing North Street over. We're in the process of completing that. It's time to move to the other issues. Ballpark being one, Colonial Theater being one, GE plant being another one. There's many, many things happening in the city of Pittsfield. So if anybody thinks I'm sitting here all day worrying about ballparks, you know full well that there's a lot of other things on our plate. But we need to keep it all together. And I, for one, think that this is a will be a tremendous shot in the arm for our downtown.
Okay, Mike, any final thoughts on the you're as a consultant for the new ballpark?
Well, one of the things that I was very, very pleasantly surprised by coming into Pittsfield were really two things that in many projects you don't find. You don't find a significant contribution of private money, what you're seeing here with two major contributions very, very early on in the process, which will add like seed money, and they'll bring other businesses to bring more contributions as well. And then the second thing is the whole notion of political will. You've got several strong leaders that are willing to step up, be counted, and continue to share their vision. And without those two things, projects are hard-pressed to be completed. With those two things and some perseverance, they almost always get done.
Well, I thank you guys for coming in on relatively short notice. I guess we set this all up yesterday, but the object of today's special program here on CityLink was not to wrestle pro or con about the stadium, but I don't know how many people, how many of you ever have the opportunity to sit with the mayor or sit maybe with Mike Thiessen and ask questions about the stadium. You just want to know about the stadium. What you think about it, that's your business, but we wanted to bring you the information about the stadium, and we probably could have gone a whole lot longer, but we're kind of strapped for time here, so I'd like to thank you both for coming in. And I do want to remind you folks that on this program will be repeated Tuesday, July 25th, 6 p.m. and 11 p.m., and on Sunday, July 30th at 12 noon. That's the time normally that the mayor has his show, but you're getting bounced because it is. So
that's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Mayor, thank you very much for being here.
Larry, thank you. And again, the staff here, I want to thank each and every one of them for putting this together. So
they don't mind. They don't mind. They get something to do. And Mike Thiessen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
Keep us posted on what's going on. Okay?
Absolutely.
We will.
Thank you for tuning in to a special edition of Inside Straight on CityLink. I'm Larry Kratka.
Thanks for coming out. My name is Jeff Cook. I'm the president of Downtown Inc. of Pittsfield, and I'm really pleased to be here on this very warm day. Since we've got baseball on our minds here in Pittsfield, I thought we'd start off with one of my favorite Yogi Berra stories. when Mayor John Lindsay and his wife Mary were asked to throw out the first ball at a Yankees game. It was a really hot day. So the mayor tossed the ball in, Yogi caught it, and as you've seen ceremonially, he walked back out to hand him the baseball. And Mrs. Lindsay said, "Boy, I'm really impressed. On such a hot day today, like today, you look so cool." And Yogi said, "You don't look too hot yourself." Thanks to Mike McDonald. Many of you know that we're standing in a spot where a lot of us expected the roof to fall in on when it looked like the Central Block was going to be one of the big blights in downtown Pittsfield. So I know you feel with everybody here that this is really a very special day. It's really hot because we've gotten to a place that is going to permanently change the terrain in downtown Pittsfield, and all of us